Okay, so there was a study where a bunch of people were handed a newspaper and told to count all the pictures throughout. But on the second page, it said stop counting. There's 43 photos. Half the people saw it, half the people missed it. The people that missed it had one thing in common. Can you guess what it was? Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of Life According to Josh. Today, before I jump into what the answer was, I really want to talk about supporting your friends. I see so many people choosing to like, comment, and subscribe to a whole bunch of other platforms that already have thousands of followers, buying products that are already proven and tested. Yet your friends are out there as entrepreneurs trying new things. For example, I'm currently wearing one of my best friend's shirts. It's just a picture of him. People ask me, who's that? I go, oh, it's Matty Mafati. You got to check him out. And so I highly recommend when you see new people out there starting new businesses, help them. Support them, buy their thing. Don't stay skeptical and wait for them to make it. They need your help and support now. So comment, share, remix, everything your friends do. Stop waiting in the background going, I'll wait. I don't want to support a business that fails. Help them. Support the crap out of your friends. I can't recommend it enough. Support your friends. All right, so today I'm talking about skepticism and pessimism and why it's been such a turnaround for me, and I hope for you as well. In Morgan Housel's book, The Psychology of Money, he has a great quote. I'm going to read it to you here. Optimism sounds like a sales pitch, and pessimism sounds like someone trying to help you. This is such a beautiful line because pessimism is more common than optimism, and it sounds smarter, so intellectually, it's very captivating because optimism gets read as being oblivious to risk, whereas pessimism makes you seem smart because you can see all the bad things. Look how smart I am. Morgan Housel even uses an example inside the book about if a smart person were to pitch him a stock that will 10x, he's going to say, no thanks. But even if a not so smart person were to pitch him an idea that the stock that he already owns is about to crash, he's going to do so much research to pull out, right? The idea of scarcity and fear is stronger in the pessimism side of things and makes us act faster than it does the other way. In fact, I remember even when I was building one of my businesses, it took me 5 years of optimism to build it. And when it failed, that only lasted about 3 days. And so everything I had built while I was being optimistic took a long time to get through. And the skepticism was a really easy one for people to be like, well, look, I told you so. And that only lasted a very short period of time. And this speaks to the evolutionary piece that Kahneman talks about, that organisms treats threats as more urgent than opportunities. Opportunities are never urgent. Threats are very urgent. So psychologically and evolutionarily, it's something that we want to jump on right away. If we're skeptical and we're smart about it, it's a threat. We got to deal with it right away. Whereas an opportunity is something that that'll be there for a while. I don't need to jump on it right away. It's not a big deal. And so that's why being skeptical when a threat is around seems like the intelligent and smart thing to do. Whereas being optimistic when there's threats around does not seem like the wise choice. In the book, The Luck Factor by Richard Wiseman, he was the one that put the participants into the test. People who thought they were lucky and didn't think they were very lucky. And he put them into categories and he had them read the newspaper. And he asked them to count how many photos there were from start to finish. That was it. And there was 2 pictures, specifically one on page 2 and one about halfway through. The second page of the first picture on there, in big bold letters, said stop counting. There's 43 pictures in this whole thing. Those who self-described as lucky saw that instantly. Brought it up to him and said, hey, there's 43. And then also halfway through was another picture that said, if you show me this picture, I'll give you $250. Again, the lucky people noticed these, the unlucky people didn't. So the thing that they had in common was that they self-described as unlucky, and they missed this every time. And so the biggest thing that I notice between people who self-describe as unlucky or people who say they're skeptical because it feels like the smart way to do things, which makes sense. But what I notice more than anything is they miss hundreds of opportunities that are right in their face because that person's a crooker, that seems riskier, I don't want to do that. And it's like, well, have you ever tried that before? And the answer is often, well, no, it's just, here's the reason why that person's a crook or this thing sucks or whatever. And it's just interesting. And I'll tell you my own story around the entire piece because I used to be a really skeptical guy as well. And It wasn't until I started to read some books, and even when I was reading the books, I was skeptical the whole way through, but a friend who's very successful handed me a book and said, I want you to read this because I know that you struggle with money, Josh. And so I gave it a read. It was You're a Badass at Making Money, and I'm reading it, and I remember this very particular passage because it frustrated me so much. And inside the book, the story goes like this. There's a girl who wants to work with the author, but before she works with her, she's like, I'm in debt about $70,000, and I need to get out of it before I decide to work with you and work forward with my life and build my business. And so instead of just letting it go, the author says, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you manifest and think about it. I want you to picture yourself creating $70,000 worth of wealth over the next 3 days. The girl kind of laughs and says, no, that's going to be impossible. Just, no, try it. Do it. Just do it for me. Of course, I'm reading this thinking this is BS. This is crazy. There's no way that stuff works. I've read The Secret. No one brought me a bike. What are you talking about? And so she goes for the next 3 weeks and she continues to manifest the $70,000. She keeps thinking about it and doing it, and she does it every day, and she does it 2 or 3 times a day, and she just keeps trying and trying. It's all she's thinking about, all she's looking for. And around the 2.5 week mark, she kind of gets annoyed or frustrated with it, and she starts cleaning out one of her rooms, one of her old offices in her house, and she finds an old portfolio. It's an old stock portfolio from a job that she used to have. Then apparently the stock had vested at that time, and so she calls the company. She's like, hey, what happened to the stock? And they're like, oh, we went live. We had an IPO. The stock is worth more now. You can have some. And this is over 10 years ago. She's like, oh, I didn't even know. And turns out that stock was worth about $72,000-ish. Again, I'm reading this, like, even though I got goosebumps, I'm just like, no way, there's no way that's true. This is made up. I'm also sitting there thinking, wait a minute, I don't have an old job. I never had any vested stock. This is BS. And, my life goes on. I read a few more books, and then I just try it. I just gave it a shot because the reality is that manifesting or thinking about these things or looking for opportunities or saying that I'm lucky really doesn't take that much. It doesn't take a lot of effort on my part to try it. All I have to do is push my ego aside and give it a try. So I did. And for 3 weeks, I said I would try it too. And I would say things like, I always have more money than I need. I can't help but attract a lot of money. I have an abundant lifestyle, so on and so forth. Whatever it is, I had a whole list of things I would say. And I'd say them every morning and every afternoon, and I said it for 3 weeks. And I'm doing this, and I'm skeptical while I'm doing it, but I'm trying to be like, nope, it takes less than a minute each time I do it. That's 2 minutes a day. Let's just give it a try, prove myself right. And at the 3 week mark, my old agent calls me and says, hey, a show and a commercial that you booked way back in the day renewed. Here's a $5,000 check. I was blown away. I was like, what is happening? I also had to grieve a little bit because there was a frustrated part of me that's like, why didn't I do this earlier? Like, it doesn't take that much work to just try to manifest some stuff, to try to push on that, to try to see the opportunities. And as I started doing that, a whole bunch of opportunities started popping up. I even tried it with a friend. I was like, why don't you try? Because he was quite skeptical as well. And so he tried it for a little bit, and then he got a rebate check back that he'd forgotten that he'd mailed. And again, the skeptical side was like, well, I was going to get that anyways. I'm like, but isn't it interesting that the day that you decided to start manifesting this, it popped in, it literally came to the door. It arrived in your mail and you opened it in the middle of your manifestation. Could have come a week before, you could have come a week after, but it came during this time. Coincidence? I think not. And the idea is that more opportunities start popping up, and opportunities that I didn't see, all of a sudden I started noticing. All these things started flowing to me. It wasn't necessarily in the form of money, but there were so many opportunities coming my way that I was like, whoa, I have a friend that literally is in the same industry as me, and I could partner with him. And the next thing I know, we're partnered and I'm connecting, and he's giving me students and I'm making more. I was like, wow, why didn't I see that a year ago, a few months ago? My mind, as skeptical as it used to be, wouldn't let me. Pause. So the best thing we can start doing here is find out, are we skeptical? And the way we do this is through a little thing called awareness, integration, and action. You first must become aware before you can integrate, and you have to integrate before you take some action steps. That's it. But how do we become aware? Just ask yourself, do you have the life you want? Or are you on the trajectory towards the life you want? If you are, great. you probably don't need to do too much. You can adjust little things here and there. But if you're miserable, if you're frustrated, if things aren't going the way you want, it's probably time to start looking at why. The way I look at it is through a wheel. There's like 8 or 11 pillars of your life where you can look at career, finance, happiness, health, wealth, family, religion, spirituality, giving. You can look at all these different areas of your life and you can see where you stack up. Like, are you a 5 out of 10? Are you an 8 out of 10? Are you a 0 out of 10? And just find, like, of those areas, do you want improvement? And are you already making the steps to make those improvements or not? And if you are, great. Again, maybe something does need to change for you at this particular moment. However, if you notice that you're like, actually, some of these are pretty low, and I'm blaming everyone else, or this is stupid, or the last person that tried to help me made a mistake, that's when you can start to look at, okay, maybe I am skeptical here. Maybe I am not seeing the opportunities for support and help. Once you can grasp it and see the area, you got awareness. Great. Then you can move to integration. You can start to see why you're feeling skeptical, angry, frustrated, lost, whatever it is. This, whether you're mad at the system or your mom or your dad or friends or whatever, these are areas you can start to own and integrate into your body, and then you can start to take action steps towards those things. And going back to Morgan Housel's argument around pessimism versus optimism, something he says here is skepticism will ask, will this fail? Where discernment asks, what would have to be true for this to work? And can I make those things true? And that's something I notice a lot about skeptics, is they're constantly saying that can't happen, that won't happen, this won't work for this reason, rather than finding what must be true in order for this to work. And that's how I know, and that's how someone else, or like you could know, are you being skeptical or not? Are you being a pessimist or are you being an optimist? Because if you're only looking at why things won't work rather than how they can, that's a really good sign. You got a little pessimism on your side. And that's okay if you're happy with your life. But if something needs to adjust, or you want a little bit more money, a little bit more love, a little bit more adventure, a little stronger body, whatever it happens to be, maybe you can take a look at that and adjust it, because I'm rooting for you. I want the best life for you and everyone out there. I believe there's enough for everyone out there, and I want that for you. I want that for myself too. Don't we all? Just remember that skepticism will make you sound like the smartest person in the room, probably until you're the last person standing in the room. So, now that you're off, you kind of understand a little bit about skepticism and how unlucky and where opportunities come from. Go out there, comment on a friend's post, share a friend's post, help your friends and fellow entrepreneurs out. Go out there, have a fantastic day, help somebody just by supporting them.